Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and today I'm going to be breaking down some of the biggest moments in Jackass history.
I'm Johnny Knoxville.
And I'm Butterbean.
Today we're going to do a little boxing.
I love boxing and I love knockouts, so the Butterbean fight was right up my alley.
Touch gloves and come out fighting.
I remember when he showed up that morning, I said, Butterbean, I need you to go full speed today. He goes, Johnny, I can't do that. I said, Butterbean, I need you to go full speed. He goes, you don't got to beg me. And I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But he went full speed. All day long, he was so fun and jovial. And then Susie put on the boxing gloves. I said something to him like, hey, Butterbean, da-da-da. And he looked at me like he didn't recognize me. And then my knees started shaking.
Oh!
In the footage, you can see me snoring. But my doctor told me that's you just trying to swallow your tongue. And I knew I had to try and make it funny because it could be borderline dark in those situations. So I luckily had enough wherewithal to come up with the line, is Butterbean okay?
Is Butterbean okay?
Because I thought I'd killed them. I got my entry into doing stunts by doing a participatory journalism article for Big Brother magazine, which Jeff Tremaine was the editor of that magazine, and a lot of the guys in Jackass came from Big Brother. And my idea for the article was to test pepper spray, stun gun, taser gun, and then shoot myself while wearing a bulletproof vest with a .38 revolver. I had to buy the cheapest vest they had at the time because I didn't have any money, but luckily it worked. And so it was a natural pathway into doing a Riot, Riot grenade control test?
Riot control test.
Yeah, and it was a Stingmore mine, which shot out thousands of little hard rubber balls. Initially, after we did the test in front of the cast, no one was going to do it except for me. I was sitting in the car listening to my cousin Roger Allen Wade's music, and Ryan gets in the car and he's like, sorry, man, I'm just not going to do it. I don't feel like doing this. And I'm like, it's okay, buddy, you don't have to do it. And then they called me into the set, and he just gets out of the car with me and just starts walking in stride with me. By then I could tell he was going to do it. And then Bam was telling us, no way is he going to do it. But I remember convincing him with, look, it's just loud.
It's just loud. It's loud. It's going to hurt really bad, but it's just loud.
It's going to hurt, but it's just loud, which was not a very good way of convincing him, but somehow that worked, and Bam ended up doing it, and he was gold, because I think he cried.
Are you crying?
I think he's hurt.
Out of the original self-defense test, the pepper spray was the most painful, because it just is someone started a fire in your eyes, and it feels like they're putting it out with gasoline. And it's like 15 or 20 minutes of intense pain. And then you get home later that night, take a shower, and you reactivate it. The water reactivates it. So you're blind again. That's a terrible pain. And the Riot control test, that hurt, but also I had vertigo at the time. So when I went down, the room started spinning. Riot control test stung. You know, I think what scared the guys most, it was extremely loud. Extremely loud. The hard rubber balls stung, but I don't know. Thank God I covered my face and my nuts, because my hands the next day looked like a leopard, because that's where most of the things hit, in my face and on my nuts. But it worked out.
Now I'm lubing up
I can't see the car.
the little toy car because I'm going to put it in my butt.
That one is one of the cast's favorite bits ever. Maybe it's the number one. It was written for Steve-O, but his father said no.
It's in? Yeah.
And Ryan Dunn was like, this is too good of an idea for someone not to shoot it. Oh, f it, I'll do it. Because he would always step in a lot and take one for the team. And it ended up, he was the perfect person for it. He was so funny. And then the doctor we found, like by a miracle, the doctor we found was perfect.
Es un carrito. Un carrito juguete.
He was like concerned for Ryan, like confused, disgusted. The doctor had all these emotions, and you really feel that as you're watching it.
You just go to the doctor, you don't talk to anybody, you have a girlfriend or to the boyfriend or to whatever. You don't tell nobody, right? He already knows that's too many people.
And the radiologist, when she took the x-ray out of the machine, the look on her face. And the x-ray was, it's like someone, a photographer shot, it's like a graphic designer. It was like, it's nothing but a toy car up someone's ass. Everything about that we lucked into. It was perfect.
What's your name again?
What? Irving.
Irving, yeah.
Irving Zisman. Spike had used Tony Gardner to dress up some of his skaters, like Eric Costin and those guys, as old men. And he suggested that I dress up as an old man and do pranks. So I got to give that nod to Spike. As far as the character, it's kind of a more intense version of myself and a little bit of my father. Irving's kind of a pervert.
All right, kid. It's time for Grandpa's massagey.
Get massages with happy endings?
That's right. Say goodbye to the hippies.
Bye, hippies.
I've been in instances where people have wanted to beat Irving up before. Luckily, no one's swung on me yet, but they've definitely wanted to beat Irving up before. But I'm usually pretty good at winding people up, and when they get their angriest, I can wind them down a little, calm them down, and then wind them back up.
Just step over that line. Oh, you stepped over the line.
That's one of my few skills that I have. Prick skills.
Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and I'm about to rent a car.
You know, when we're doing a prank, we always clear it with the owner of the company so we know that they'll sign off. So the owner knew, but the employee doesn't know. And if we figure out they might recognize us, we won't air it. But in this case, the employee had no clue. When I rented the car from him and when I returned it, it was the same guy, and he was not very happy with me.
I had a accident, as you can see. Yeah, I mean, I drink, I just black out, so like... Were you drinking or anything? Yeah, I had a little.
We filmed that in Portland, Oregon, as opposed to Portland, Texas. And the crash up derby turned out to be pretty gnarly. I got a car that drove right up the hood and almost into my face, which wouldn't have been so bad. The prank has a stunt aspect to it as well. Some pranks do and some pranks don't, but that one had it all.
We're gonna have to get this worked out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for that car.
Well, you're gonna have to help me pay for that car.
No, we don't do that.
I returned it with the full tank of gas.
You returned it demolished.
The biggest obstacle is to get coverage on the guy you're pranking. I think I had to wear a helmet cam to get that coverage because we're inside his business and you can't plant a bunch of cameras inside his business. They're going to see that. You know, even if you put camera hides up, they're going to know that that wasn't there yesterday. So that was the biggest concern. And I think all the coverage of him was through my helmet cam.
Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is the Anaconda Ball Pit.
Oh! Well, Manny, you know, when we deal with alligators, he's our safety guy. Steve-O was shooting a bit with alligators. And at the safety meeting, he's like, okay, when we're filming this today, if the alligator does bite Steve-O, hopefully he will let go. and that was his whole plan for if Steve-O gets bit. So, you know, Manny's incredibly strong, and he would jump in and help. But when you're working with animals like an alligator or an anaconda, there's only so much you can do. The anaconda bit me several times. After the bit we filmed, they're like, yeah, that anaconda bit someone's calf off last week. I'm like, thank God you told me that afterwards. I remember, I'm like, okay, I don't want the anaconda to bite my wrists. That was my irrational fear, because if he bites my wrist, then that's going to be trouble. So my solution to that was, I put a strip of electrical tape around each wrist, which would have done nothing, right? It would have done nothing, but in my mind, I was protected. There was two in there, and the one was really quiet, didn't move around much. But yeah, that second one was dangerous.
We forgot about the other snake. This is the Toro Totter. It's me and Pontius versus Dunn and Bam, and the last man on the teeter-totter is the winner.
We were shooting at Gary LeFew's ranch. He's who we use when we deal with bulls. He's been amazing and got us incredible footage and kept us somehow from getting forever injured. We were shooting an idea at his ranch that day that I'd saw on Tom and Jerry, where Tom puts on a blindfold and puts in a cigarette and a bull smokes him. So we did that with a yak. And since we were there, Gary's like, hey, why don't you do the Toro Totter idea? And we're like, what's that? And I said, you know, you get a teeter-totter and put it in the middle of a bull ring. And we're like, that sounds great. So that was Gary's idea. And thank goodness, because it turned out wonderfully. See, bulls just hate movement. They don't care about color. They want to kill anything that moves. If you're in a bull ring and you stand completely still, like, odds on, they're probably not going to hit you. But one bull came out and as the Toro Totter was moving, hit the Toro Totter. I get a lot of my ideas, if not directly from a cartoon, but thinking that life's a cartoon. Like the giant hand in Jackass 3D is very cartoony, and I thought that would be funny. No one really had faith in that idea, but we know enough that, okay, that may not work, but let's try it anyway, and luckily it worked. I love shooting things inspired by a cartoon.
My name is Johnny Knoxville, and this is the high five.
We asked the crew members to be bringing in some food at the same time Aaron was, so it didn't look so out of the blue like, can you carry soup in? It's like, okay, we'll have people out there carrying food in, and they'll ask Aaron to carry some soup in.
What up, Aaron?
What's up, dude?
Yeah, dude. Help out the crowd, brother.
Like, I don't think we got anyone else to carry the soup, but thank God he did. But yeah, we have crew members help out with the pranks too. You know, we had our costume designer, Emily Ting, like she was dressing the guys, and while they were in there getting dressed, they walked up hard steps, but when they walked out, it was like balsa wood steps. She knew what was going on and she played along, but the crew members, everybody's in on it, right? The whole set is working to get the guys.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is my big red rocket. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
That was Jackass #2, and I was in a real mindset then. So I don't remember being terrified. I just remember being ecstatic that we just got that footage. But it was a pretty crazy moment because a foot-long metal rod shot out not only this close to my ribs, but one goes 300 yards back and splits two of our art department guys right between their ears, Scott Manning and Mike Kasich, and that would have decapitated them. So a lot of people got lucky on set that day. I forget whose idea that was, but we don't do research ahead of time. It's just like, let's see what happens if we stand behind a jet engine and get things launched at us. We'd rather rehearse on film because that's what's funny. You don't want to rehearse ahead of time. That destroys Jackass. You know, we're scientists at the end of the day, so we're gathering data on what would happen if you stood behind a jet and had footballs or tomatoes or whatever thrown at you, or jump off a thing with an umbrella. That really f***ed our friend Loomis Fall up. He just powdered his collarbone. It f***ed him up for a while. That was maybe one of our first days of filming. We were filming with 3D, so it was like we had this whole 3D crew on the set, and Pontius usually is carrying an axe or a knife on him or something. Aaron had annoyed Pontius, and Pontius had his knife out and was trying to stab Aaron. I just go over to Jeff, who's behind the 3D. You know, he's looking into the 3D monitor. He's got his headphones on. I'm like, Jeff, will you go get Pontius because he's trying to stab Aaron. Jeff has to, he takes off his headphones. Okay, Pontius, come on, give me your knife. Give me your knife. And finally, Pontius is like, okay, and gives him his knife. He tried to stab him again later in the movie when we're doing the Lamborghini tooth pull.
Relax.
Oh!
Ow!
Aaron said something that annoyed Pontius, and he just got out his knife and was like slashing at his throat. And I had to get the knife from him. The boys are a real handful sometimes.
I'm Steve-O, and this is the Poo Cocktail Supreme.
They said we weren't allowed to put human feces in there. So we found a company that sells dog feces and put that in there, but a few crew members did put real feces in there.
Poo Cocktail Supreme!
All our stuff is janky, right? So we hope he doesn't launch into space, but luckily he didn't. But speaking of space, the poop did go weightless for a while. We weren't expecting that. And Steve-O had goggles on and all these things, but he forgot to keep his mouth shut, thank goodness.
It was raining poo on all of the crew.
Yeah, no one thought of that. No one thought of that. Everyone got it. It was a disgusting set. And then you know the hug's coming. As soon as Steve-O gets let out, a hug's coming. Yeah, you gotta be on your toes.
3, 2, 1.
That one, when I was inside the cannon, which is like, you can't, there's no space. There's no fucking space inside the cannon. I was just trying to focus on spreading my wings when I come out. Spreading my wings when I come out. I knew that was the shot, and I didn't know how I was going to come out, if I was going to be flipping or what. So that's all I wanted to do, and thank goodness I did it. I hit the water with such force. If I would have went in flat back, I would have broke my back. My ass absorbed 100% of the impact, and I couldn't sit down for like 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. It was just incredibly painful to sit.
And that was just one take. You guys just did
one take. You know, I didn't even know if we were going to do anything with the bull this movie because we've done it all in the past. I'm like, maybe we won't do the bulls this movie. But I wanted to prank an animal and trick an animal. So we like, okay, well, a magic trick on an animal. And then it just naturally became a bull because trying to trick a bull is going to get you really good footage. And boy, did it. In the movie, that's the second time I did it. I did it at a take before, and the bull didn't come at me for the first like 90 seconds. And when he finally hit me, he just smoked me in the ribs and put me out like a cigarette into the ground. And it was one of those things that really hurt, but it didn't look amazing, which sucks to get hit by a bull and have it not go in the movie. So like I knew it, Jeff knew it, everybody knew that we had to go again. And then they changed bulls and they put Pecker Wrecker in there. That's the bull's name. And he did the job. That was a broken wrist, broken rib, concussion, and a brain hemorrhage. I spent the weekend in the hospital, and it took me a few months to recover from that. My brain was scrambled. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Please see Jackass Forever in theaters now. Woohoo!